Hello, it's Paul Rayburn here. Just wanted to cover another subject here, one you're probably sick of talking about. I want to talk about the um, the GSEs, Fannie, Freddie, wherever that comes out of, the FHFA, request or requirement for appraisers to support their market condition adjustments, and the chart that you probably don't want to see ever again, but now you're going to see it. So this has raised a lot of sort of flack, and I get it. So there's arguments that, okay, appraisers, oh, you don't have to show it in your chart in your work, or there's people saying, oh, worried about how are you going to do that. I just want to talk about, I don't ever trust a chart like this when I see it. I don't know how that was developed. So when I say I want to see the data behind the chart, here's kind of what I'm talking about. I just have an example here, a file I was working on. So let me share that with you. Yeah. Now, so for those of you that don't know me, I am, why am I interested in the GSEs and FHFA and all that? I'm Canadian. Why do I care about all this? Well, I'm a student of George Dell's, and I truly believe in appraisers, going to the next level and learning more about evidence-based valuation. So that drives me to want to see the data. And so I can, form my own conclusions about the reliability of that. And there's a lot of talk about this subject and the difficulties. And I'm on both sides. I understand appraisers that, are concerned about, this requirement. This seems to be, across the board. Now you got to, make adjustments and support your adjustments, all that kind of stuff. So, it's a move towards using sort of market calculators, market condition, calculators, or support, adjustment support calculators and all that. So I think we appraisers really need to really learn more about what's going on in the background, the data, and arm your BS detector, as I've heard it called before. So let me go. Here's a chart. Here's an example. Now, this is not a price index. This is whereas this chart is showing the price change on a month-over-month basis. I just happen to have this one on my desk, and I do a quick video. So but it's a similar, looking chart. It's a mean. This one's the median prices for that period, and so, but what is driving this data? Like, what makes this chart? Let's look at the data. I mean, it looks, sure, you can do an adjustment here, a few percent here, a few percent there. But let's look at the data behind this chart. Oh, okay. I got 4 dots. Oh, I got, 4 more. And I got a few more. And I got some outliers. So, any sort of appraiser or market or data analyst worth their salt would look at this and go, that is not oops, what did I do there? That is not a consistent market. That is not a credible trend. Like, how is that being created? Well, let's pan out. Let's look through the data a little more. Let's pan a little more. Okay, well, there's the data. Oh, it actually starts to look maybe more reliable. But I mean, obviously, we get in the end here, we don't have anything. And again, I've talked about some other videos about the effects of scale on your interpretation of the data. So you can see here, some folks, especially if you took these rollings off of there, maybe you put a smooth line on that. Well, that looks actually, maybe pretty consistent. So, but I also want to point out, well, look at the scale. Always look at the scale. Look at what's going on the axis. Now, almost always when you're looking at date over time, there's no, there's not going to be any scaling there. You're just looking at a particular segment of time. And these are not sort of cumulative. Like, every one of these is just, month over month over month. Whereas here we have cumulative dates. We have 2 million, 4 million, 6 million. So we're doubling here. So that's why some I suggest, sometimes looking at or including having the y-axis um, showing on a y-axis here, so you can see a little better. Now you're never going to really get to a zero when you're looking at a logarithmic scale, is what I meant to say on the y-axis. So you can look at some of my other videos on that. You can learn about it online. You know, again, but this will show the effective scale, so not as relevant here. But what I wanted to point out was just, while I've got it at this point here, let's look at it here. Could you even predict a trend line out of that? I mean, yeah, you might say, okay, it looks like it's sort of moving this direction, so it might be something like that. Uh, let's throw a line on there. There's just oh, turn that off, turn that off. Okay, so that would be a linear trend on that, just a single order polynomial or a linear model. And it would have a very low r squared value, like a 0.00 something probably. I don't have the setup right now to show the r squared on there. I could show something in a minute on that, but I just wanted to point that out while I was at the Zoom here. But the idea is that number one, if you're a student of George Dell, he's going to constantly suggest to you to look at least begin looking at your data, always down, starting at a zero scale. Number one, always getting this down to a zero here. That helps to, calibrate your eyes, calibrate your assumptions. So what we see with our eyes, biases are assumptions, probably more than most people can really imagine. When we look at data, we visually, humans are very visual, and we see these things and we almost immediately form assumptions. So you can look at some of my other videos about the issues of scale and how that can bias your assumptions, and talk more about the benefits of sort of doing this, looking at a zero scale, also looking at your value, your data on a log scale. It doesn't change the data. It looks different. It's presented differently. So I'm not going to go into that. Another video on that, I could point to it. So I just wanted to say, if you see a chart, a line, trend line that looks something like that, ask to see that. And if you're working for me and I'm signing off on your reports, or you're one of my subcontractors, I'm going to want to see this. So sure, you don't have to give it to your Fannie or Freddie or whatever, but point is, I'm evidence-based. I use evidence-based valuation. I want to see more about the evidence. I'm going to want to see this, and I'm going to be able to drill down on some of this. In a matter of minutes, I'm going to pull in property data, additional information. I'm going to maybe do something like this. I'm going to look at outliers, find out where are those. I'm going to say, oh, okay, here's my map. Oh, they're all, looks like they're all lakeshore properties. That's interesting. Let's find out more about that. Okay, there's those outliers I selected. Okay, there's one. It's right on the lakeshore. By the way, the search for this data was all not lakeshore. It said non-lakeshore. So I want semi-lakeshore, across from street. Well, here's another one. So on the lakeshore, you can see the lot likely spans the lot. Oh, here's a couple more. Again, they're on the water. There's another one. 2016 sale. Big lakeshore lot. Let's just have a check what's going down the bottom. Okay, not even on the water. It's called a lakeshore, but it's not even on the water. Sorry, semi-lakeshore, but not even. Okay, there's a bunch right there. Those are proper semi-lakeshore properties. There's a road or road between the lot and the lake. Okay, I can select those, copy them to my clipboard, paste those into my MLS quick search. I can have a look at some of those. These are the upper end high outliers I looked at there. Okay, so I can quickly, look at this information. Now, obviously, this is really not a conforming data set. I can clean it up, but I just wanted to use that as an example, as what what kind of insight can be gained, and what are we talking about when we I want to know more about the data. So, and I understand there's lots that don't have access to much data. Um, there's ways to work around, and this is like almost an ideal situation of not a conforming market, but having access to tools and the ability to do more in-depth analysis. So, just for an example, what I've done. Okay, what I can do is rank these. I can do a similarity score weighting, distance to my subject. I can select any number of categories that I want to add into that. I can customize that. And then I can rank these by similarity. I can take the top, 100 or so. I can export those. So I can do something like this. So here's my initial, just again, this market, as soon as I tried to start fitting this data, I did refine it down a little bit. But you start not having anything consistent to go with. So while this may be a smoother fit than the data, I'm confident this gets me better than nothing. But I can also apply different models to that, and I will apply multiple different models, and then I can plot things out on a price per acre, price per square foot. So what I did here was I went in. I took just the number one. This is all the data, and then I filtered it down by the top. Sorry, yeah, just the top 50 by similarity, and then I went in and did the top 25, and then I go through my MLS and refine it down to find the most similar. And then I went through that again. So this one was not done. This one here is done. So this is now I've gone through and refined that, and I plotted in the price adjusted and unadjusted. So I threw an R square value in here. There's a lot to know about R squared, and just simply a higher R square number does not always, or a very low R square number does not always tell you everything you want to know about the data. But it just is an indicator. As you can see, the initial data here was like a 0.4, and then I got that. So it's 0.3, and I got a 4.4, and then now we're here basically at the 0.95, and by the date of sale adjusted data is slightly, ever so slightly higher, but that makes sense because here's the actual comps that are pulled out of this trend line, and they're effectively hardly adjusted at all. I've got 1, so if I remove that would get even higher. But yeah, so I just wanted to, so that's the kind of, and this does not take, once you've got this set up, it does not take a lot of time. Now you can go in here and get your head around these different outliers. You might have some outliers here, you might have some low liars, and you can relook at those again, go over them in your MLS data or whatever information you have available to help you decide what are relevant and what are irrelevant comparables. So, it just gives you some idea of what by, some of the tools that are available. So anyways, yeah, so we started out talking about, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, GSEs, and all the angst they're causing. And, well, this is probably going to cause some people even more angst. I've seen it. So, but I'm here to help. I want to be part of the solution. So I'll say goodbye in person. I'm here to help. I want to be part of the solution. Help putting appraisers back at the top of the pile, being the, independent, impartial experts of real estate appraisal and real estate valuation. So thanks for listening in. As always, please check out George Dell, learn more about that, take his courses, connect with me. I'll be presenting in Las Vegas for I think it's the 4th annual Community of Asset Analysts. So some of you look forward to meeting some of you there. And if you're able to book yourself in, it's don't quote me on this. I don't have the numbers. Sorry, yeah, I did a quick search on it. Facebook's the first one to come up. And it was, yeah, so it's February 18th and 19th, Las Vegas. You can connect with George, value metrics, georgedell.com, and connect with me. So look forward to carrying on the conversations and help building up the greater community for appraisers. Thanks again. Have a great day.